Hello everyone, Gilligan Kruger 0829 here, and welcome to the second day in my Transformers movie series marathon review. Today we're going to be looking at the first live-action movie in the Michael Bay directed franchise, simply called Transformers from 2007. One of the high points of that year in movies, I think. But before I go into the movie, I want to talk about how it came to be a live-action series. The idea was actually pitched in 2003 by producers Tom DeSanto and Don Murphy. And in 2004, Steven Spielberg, who admits on being a fan of the comics, toys, and cartoon, decided to sign on to executive producer. He asked Michael Bay to direct the movie. Bay, who had just gotten finished with his movie The Island, was not really inclined to do it at first, but he really wanted to work with Spielberg. So he thought it over and he decided yes. After 2 years, the movie finally came out in 2007 with many fanboys waiting for it. But is this live-action movie more than meets the eye, or should these robots have stayed in animated disguise? Well, without any further ado, let's roll out into Transformers. So this movie actually starts out with backstory from Optimus Prime, who's voiced in here by Peter Cullen, the original voice. He tells of a cube that created his planet and his species and his life. And it was so powerful, the Autobots, which is Optimus Prime's class, and the Decepticons, the bad ones, again, if you didn't know what an Autobot or a Decepticon was, just look it up. It won't take you too hard to find. Went to war for this cube, and as such, Cybertron was destroyed in the process. Both sides went out trying to find the cube, and the Autobots, after almost giving up, found it had crashed into Earth. So, we're then cut to present-day Qatar, where we see an army base, which includes members such as William Lennox, played by Josh Duhamel, and Robert Epps, played by Tyrese Gibson, is attacked by a Decepticon who infiltrated the base in the form of an MH-53 Pavlov helicopter. This one, called Blackout, we'll find out his name later on in the movie, wreaks havoc on the base, and as such, most people think nobody survived the attack. But they are trying to find out what it was that attacked them. However, this isn't this is not kept secret, and most of the countries in the world learn about it within days, minutes even, and they begin preparing to find out what's going on and who's going to go to war with who. But that's not the main focus of our story. The main focus is on an 11th grader boy named Sam Witwicky, played by Shia LaBeouf. He is trying to get a car, not only for himself, but to impress his crush, Mikaela Banes, played by then unknown actress Megan Fox. But hell has it, we all know her name now. So he does get the car, but is unaware that it's an Autobot named Bumblebee in disguise. Bumblebee has been trying to signal the other Autobots to come to Earth to help him find the Allspark. But sadly, Sam and Mikaela, through a series of events, get involved too. And the movie, this one anyway, is a search between the Autobots and the Decepticons to find the Allspark first. And along the way, we have some fight scenes desperately trying to make sure the other side does not get it. Now, a lot of fans wanted to see this movie. I myself was really hyped being a Transformers fan for so long. When I finally saw this on opening night in 2007, my life had changed. Why, you may ask? Because this movie was friggin' awesome! Oh, I don't even know where to begin. There's so many things that I loved about this movie. I don't care what some fanboys say that it was bad or whatnot. I think this was one of the coolest movies I have ever seen. Let's start with the story, which, while it gets a bit silly at times, it actually does modify to Transformers. There are some points that don't make sense, like I don't really get it how you've got a whole bunch of these special operators who've been working at it for years can't pick up a signal because they are beaten by a group of college kids who've only been out of college for like a year that find it first. You'll understand what I'm talking about if you see the movie. In fact, that actually didn't bother me till the last time I watched it, but I give it forgiveness because this is Transformers, and Transformers was never about a complex storyline. You were never meant to take it too seriously. But I actually kind of like it, and here, it's not bad. The action sequences, that's one thing that Transformers was based on. How did the action go? It is incredible. The director, as I said, is Michael Bay, and he's become famous for his action scenes. Even in his weaker movies, the action scenes are always cool, and that's no shock here. When the Autobots fight the Decepticons, or even when there's just gunfights between humans and Decepticons, it's really awesome. There are lots of explosions, there's lots of things getting blown up. I know that's explosions, but you know what I'm saying. And it's really cool. I really like the action. I was rooting for both sides occasionally, actually, but that's just me. What was the most impressive about this, that I think even today people are being surprised how good this was the CGI. What they did with the Transformers, 'cause they look incredible. You've got hundreds of different individual moving parts on these robots, and it's completely believable. I know certain fanboys are divided because some of the Transformers don't look a thing like what they did in the original show, but you know what? I thought the CGI was so impressive I didn't even care. That's just me. But to the fanboys, as I said before, Optimus Prime is in fact voiced by Peter Cullen here. Yes, most fans were extremely satisfied to see Peter Cullen was back as Optimus Prime. I know I was, but so that was also pretty cool that we got some new nods. Frank Welker didn't reprise his role, unfortunately. He was replaced by Hugo Weaving, but I think that Hugo Weaving's voice was pretty cool for Megatron. And the other voices, when you hear them, I think do match as well. Apart from the robots, though, the human characters in this movie they're alright. Now, granted, the human characters have always been the weakest part of the Transformer mythos, if you'd like to call it that. But here, they're about as much as you'd expect them. Maybe a little bit weaker at times, but they're not really horrible like they could be. And for that, I won't take off points. The bottom line is all of these things mashed together for a kick-ass ride experience that I loved this movie, and I will not change my opinion on that for a long time. Now, I do not think this movie is without its flaw, because it does have one small throwback, and that's in its humor. Occasionally, the humor from some of the characters, particularly Sam's parents, played by Kevin Dunn and Julie White, really provides some awkward moments. In the middle segment of this movie alone, the second act, there's the word I'm looking for, because it just comes out of nowhere, and occasionally it's sexual innuendo based, and I don't really like that in all movies. In some movies it's fine, but I don't think it makes sense in a Transformers movie. It just seems out of place. Now granted, I don't think all of the humor in this movie is bad. I like the inclusion of Anthony Anderson as the comic relief computer hacker. I had some really funny lines with him. Like, there's one scene that references both Freddy Krueger and Wolverine, where he's going, ha, 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 and I thought that was really funny, to be honest. There's also another funny cameo by, Bernie Mac. Why'd you have to die, man? But he's, in the beginning of this, he's actually the one who sells Sam Bumblebee. And he provides a lot of funny lines, too. I really enjoyed him in this movie. I've always loved Bernie Mac, and it's no difference here. But altogether, I adored this movie. I'm still blown away by it, even after almost 4 years of seeing it for the first time. The CGI is incredible. The action scenes are epic. The story knows exactly what it wants to be and doesn't take itself too seriously. And even the human characters aren't bad. This was my favorite movie of 2007 by far. More than 300 even. And to quote a line from a another review of this movie. This movie is like a piece of toast spread on both sides with awesomeness. I love this movie. It was so cool to see, like, Optimus Prime and Starscream and Bumblebee on the big screen for the first time. Like, how could I not love this movie? It was everything and more than what I could have requested from a live-action Transformers movie. So, I give Transformers 4.5, but just this much under 5 stars out of 5. This is one of the coolest action movies I've ever seen, and I still think it's Michael Bay's best movie. You can find all my movie reviews on my YouTube channel. If you have a movie you'd like me to review, comment on this video or on my channel. Until next time, peace.